Netcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is Twit.
Bandwidth for Green Tech Today is provided by Cachefly at CACHEFLY.com.
This is Green Tech Today, the Twit Network's Top 25 Green Tech Innovators Series. This episode of Green Tech Today is brought to you by the Eco-Imagination Challenge from GE. GE and its partners are awarding $200 million to ideas that help build the next generation power grid for the 21st century. For more information and to view and comment on ideas, go to ecoimagination.com/challenge. And by audible.com. To download a free audiobook of your choice, go to audiblepodcast.com/greentech. And by squarespace.com, the fast and easy way to publish a high-quality website or blog. For a free trial and 10% off the lifetime of your new account, go to squarespace.com and use the offer code GTT. "2010 could be called the year auto manufacturers gave electric cars a chance. In addition to the hybrids already on the road, 100% electric vehicles are trickling into the auto market. The Nissan Leaf is among those creating a stir. And why not? It's the world's first affordable zero-emission car. Green Tech Today attended the celebration of the first Nissan Leaf delivery in San Francisco. We're here looking at the Nissan Leafs in San Francisco in front of City Hall. San Francisco is positioning itself to be at the forefront of electric vehicle adoption, and the Nissan Leaf is a key component of that. I'm here with Paul Hawsan. He is the project planning manager at Nissan. Tell me about this car. What is awesome about the Nissan Leaf?
What is awesome? It's written on the side of it. This is a zero emissions vehicle. What we mean by that, there's no gasoline, no tailpipe, all electricity. It has a range of 100 miles, over 100 miles, depending on how you drive. So with that said, you plug in at home, you never have to go to a gas station again. So there's all these conveniences you'll start to realize once you own this vehicle. And we're happy that we were able to sell the first one today to Olivier over there.
And how many miles do you get on a charge, and how long do you have to charge the batteries?
So as I was kind of mentioning, on this particular car, most people will get 100 miles of range out of it. Okay, it can be higher, it can be lower. There's a range of ranges. Okay?
Depending on how you drive it.
Yeah, if you have a lead foot, you're not going to get 100 miles.
Right.
But if you're kind of just a normal person and you're not speeding or anything like that, you can get 100 miles or over. Part of the wow with this vehicle, to go back to that original question, is beyond all this. It's a real car. Crash. I mean, a lot of people would think, electric vehicle, what am I giving up? Actually, outside of the range issue, there's nothing else you're really giving up. So if you can live with that range of 100 miles, which we have plenty of data that suggests, I think 95% of people drive less than 100 miles a day.
Right.
3/4 of people drive less than 40 miles a day. And that doesn't change weekend to weekdays. So it really is a good solution to be a primary vehicle. And then when you have to go out of town, that's when you take the minivan with the family, right?
Right, so, something that can drive a little bit further than what this can do. How long does it take to charge?
Oh, how long does it take to charge? So for 0 to 100%, let's say you used up all 100 miles. You go home on a standard charger, which is hooked up to 240 volt. You're looking at 8 hours, so it's an overnight charge.
Okay.
That's part of the concept of this vehicle when we put it together, is that every car sleeps with its owner, because the owner can't drive while it's sleeping, right? So while you're resting, you can basically get a full charge from the vehicle. And at the same time, of course, there are public charging stations like you see here today where, let's say you took a trip to City Hall for whatever reason, hopefully you're not in trouble. Anyway, you plug in while you're in there. So you're constantly maintaining the level of the battery. You don't always go down to 0 and you don't always go up to 100, but you'll still get around doing your everyday thing.
Can I see the chart where it plugs in?
Absolutely. So this is how simple it is to plug in. So let's just say we got out of a car, right? We just stopped. You're gonna pull this, kind of similar to popping your hood.
Yep.
You're going to walk to the
lever.
Yep. You're going to walk to the front of your vehicle. You pull it open. Oh, sorry. Pull it open.
Okay.
Your charger would be on your wall at home, and you simply just plug it in.
Okay, and it's a specialized type of charger plug.
Absolutely.
Is it a standard 240 volt plug, or is it something different?
So let me talk a little bit about that. This particular, I'll say standard that you have here is also known as SAE J1772.
Okay.
Fancy word for what everyone is using.
Okay.
So this will work with both 120 volt, 110.
120 volt is going to take longer to charge.
Absolutely.
240 is going to be.
is going to be that 8 hours. 120, you're probably looking at 18 to 20 hours for a full charge.
Okay.
But when you have this hooked up, again, this particular side will use both 240 and 120.
Okay.
So 8 hours, or actually 7 hours, according to the EPA testing. 7 hours, and maybe about 20 hours for the 110.
Okay. A lot of people have appliances at home, say maybe in their garage that use 240 volts.
Yeah.
The washing machine, dryer, those kinds of appliances. Could you just take the plug from your?
No.
Could you use that port?
No.
Or do you have to install something?
Yeah.
Just that is specifically for this car.
Yeah, per the National Electric Code, it has to be hardwired on a dedicated circuit of its own.
Okay.
The good news is many people do have those appliances already in their garage, so it's very simple from a wiring standpoint to do it. Okay. Now, for when you go visit your mother-in-law, let's say, and they don't have the charger there, the vehicle comes with what we call a trickle charge cable. Basically, it's that 120, 110 volt. And that'll plug into your regular 3-prong like our laptops plug into.
Okay.
But that's just more opportunity charging. You're not really meant to live off of that because it does take a while. Now, over here on the left-hand side, this is quick charging.
That's a little bit more complicated.
Yeah, it looks pretty big.
Pretty big.
That's actually, it's very high powered. You're looking at 50 kilowatts of power. What that means is you can get 0 to 80% in about 30 minutes.
Wow, that's really fast. What kind
Yes.
of, so 50 kilowatts, what kind of a hookup do you have to have for that? How many volts do you have to have going in?
A lot. unless you're a welder, you're a welder at home and that's your hobby, you're probably not going to have that much power going into your home.
Right.
And really, it is meant to be public charging. Right,
Okay.
so you will actually start to see them, in California, and several other places in the U.S. where we start to roll this type of charger out. Basically, it's a fast charger. You plug in 30 minutes, maybe at a rest area, and now you've extended your range effectively. Right, you're no longer just a 100-mile range vehicle. You could go beyond that. So that's kind of we're beginning to roll these out and study how people use them. We don't even know if people will use them. So we'll see how it goes.
What kind of safety considerations when you're dealing with this kind of a high current? There's probably a lot of risks for public safety.
Well, no risks because we've put all the fail-safes in there.
Good. Good to hear.
As you said, it's high-powered, but just the same amount of attention and care we give to a vehicle from a crash perspective, right, will be the same amount from here because we want to keep the customer safe. So. Part of this protocol, right? We call this the CHAdeMO spec, right? But anyway, yeah, CHAdeMO.
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 Okay.
Spec.
Okay.
What it does is essentially there's communication going back and forth between the battery itself and the actual charging station.
Okay.
So it's saying too hot, too much, what's going on. So it will cut off a charge in the event that there's some catastrophic failure that the cord is cut, or something. I'm not sure what it would be, but it would stop the charge. It can do that.
Right.
So all the safety, and that's the thing. We want to stress that beyond being an electric vehicle, it's still a safe car. It's just like any other car you would drive today from that standpoint, from a safety standpoint. Beyond being safe, at the same time, from a packaging standpoint, it's great because it's. I don't have my wallet. Okay, I have my wallet here. A single cell is maybe 1, 2, 3. A single cell is maybe 3 or 4 credit cards thick. Or thin, I guess.
Yeah, that's
right?
pretty thin.
So it's pretty impressive when you think about it. And what that allows us to do is essentially package the battery into the floor of the vehicle. right?
Okay.
Because imagine those credit card-like cells. You could wafer them together, right? And you stack them on top of each other. And actually, this is the start of the battery pack here. Okay.
Okay,
So
so
it's
you're
in the
sitting
floor
on
of the
top
vehicle.
of the battery.
Absolutely.
Because there are a lot of hybrids and other vehicles. The trunk space gets
yeah.
used up, or
Absolutely.
yeah.
Absolutely. So that's why we say it's a sweet spot, because you don't sacrifice anything from an internal volume standpoint, right? When you're in the trunk, it's still a real trunk. When you're sitting here, we could sit 5 people in here. So we could look at the back. Oop, sorry.
Unlock the doors.
So again, the floor is very flat. This is all battery, right? So I mean, I could sit back here. It's no problem. Plenty of headroom.
Got plenty of headspace.
Right. This is where the trickle charge cable is, the 3-prong, right?
Okay, great.
So it comes with every vehicle. But beyond that, what I wanted to show
Put
you
your
is...
golf clubs in there.
Oh yeah, this will fit a golf club. Nissan has a golf club set. Nissan has internal measures where we have to be able to do that, or it's not a real trunk, right? It's not a real car.
Excellent,
right?
excellent. Golf clubs.
So-
How about a stroller?
Strollers will fit.
Stroller, good.
Strollers
So,
will fit.
Is this is a solar panel?
Yeah,
up here?
absolutely. So this is one of the things you'll get in the SL grade. This is a solar panel, right? So very cool. It's very catchy. A lot of people are really into this. What it's doing is it's helping trickle charge the 12-volt battery system of this vehicle, and I could show that to you because in normal circumstances, the big battery that we sit on top of would be supporting that 12-volt battery. So you
Okay.
take that job away from the big battery. Right?
Right.
And then beyond that, down here, see this little nub here. What this is the rear view camera. So when you go into reverse, the
Inside.
navigation system will actually turn into a camera and show you directly what's behind you. Okay?
Great. Help with the visibility.
Yeah. So maybe something else interesting, something you'll find interesting.
Under the hood.
Under the hood. Right?
Excellent.
So, first, I get 2 comments usually when people look at this. Whoa, that looks like an engine, number
Yes,
one.
yes.
So this is purely design. It's to help with the familiarity of it all, right? This doesn't have to be here. Right here's the inverter, okay? Down there, if you look down that little hole right here and you see a bunch of bolts, 2 things coming together, that's where the motor is. That's how small the motor is. Okay?
Wow.
And then, one of the great things about an electric vehicle, notice there's no oil cap. You're not going to be doing oil changes anymore.
Right. How many moving parts are in the?
Everything, probably 7 to 8 moving parts,
Which
as
is-
opposed to an engine alone can have over 100.
Over 100, exactly.
A lot.
Yeah.
So yeah, very, very simple. Okay, and then the other popular question is, hey, what's this?
Battery.
It's still a battery, yeah.
Yes.
So this is your 12-volt battery, and what's going on here is basically this is helping start up the vehicle, and at the same time, it's also powering the accessories that are inside the vehicle.
Okay.
We call accessories, but things like radio memory, things like the power door locks, power windows, things like that. So that's what's powering it, not the main battery. Okay, and
Got
then
it.
of course like I said, that solar panel in the back is actually
Will
helping
help.
recharge this.
Okay, but is there an alternator that?
Nope.
No.
No, absolutely not. As you can see here, nothing belt driven, right? You don't
Right.
you remember those belts that nothing belt
belts.
driven. Even the AC is an electric compressor, super efficient. Okay, so basically what serves as the alternator is either that solar panel or the big battery will kind of help juice it up every now and then.
Got it. For the inverter, does it get really hot? I know for a lot of things you have maybe a portable inverter
Gets a little warm, right?
Gets a little warm.
It does get warm. I wouldn't say super hot, and that's what you see here as far as coolant goes. It's actually helping cool the inverter. So that's about the only fluid you see down here, other than windshield washer fluid.
So you have a coolant fluid that probably helps with heat exchange to just pass the.
Yeah, just basically pull the heat
Pull
out
the
of there
heat out
and
and
put
then-
it through something very very much like a traditional radiator you have today in your car. Yep.
Great. Well, this is interesting. Neat design. Were there a lot of challenges to fitting it all together?
Yeah. A lot of work went into putting this vehicle together overall. One of the things is, of course, Okay, so one of the benefits in an electric vehicle is, wow, it's so quiet. But one of the challenges, it's too quiet. You start hearing everything, right? So, you know, we had to start working on, you know, what tire we're going to use, how we're going to mount the suspension, you know, because depending on the tire, depending on the suspension, you could transmit all that noise into the cabin, and you no longer have an engine to mask that noise, right?
Right. Okay, and is there a lot, you also work in product planning for sports cars as well as electric vehicles. Is there anything that's coming over from the sports car side of the market into the other vehicles?
Okay. Okay. So the way I see it, sorry. I hope you didn't hear that. Sorry.
That's fine.
The way I see it, you know, I had worked on the previous sports cars like Z and GTR, and I learned a lot from working on them. Some of what I learned, you know, was applied to this, and some of what I'm learning from this, from an efficiency standpoint, you know, things like how to package something, that will eventually make its way back to sports cars. Will the two ever combine? I certainly hope so. I certainly hope so. I love both. I really do. So, you know, if I have any say in it, sure, I'd love to.
Excellent. Well, thank you very much. It's an interesting vehicle, and I'm looking forward to seeing how everyone reacts to it now that it's coming out into the market and consumers are finally getting their cars.
Absolutely. There will be a lot of offerings out there, whether it's a highly efficient gas-powered vehicle, a hybrid, fuel cell even, or electric vehicle. We're okay with putting them out there, and the consumer will ultimately decide, and that's what we're here to find out. So this is the first step.
Great. Well, this is the Nissan Leaf. People are finally starting to get them in their pockets, or I guess in their garages. So when we come back, we're going to be talking with the first customer to receive their Nissan Leaf here in the Bay Area, and I'm also going to get a test drive.
We're partnering with 4 of the biggest venture capital firms in the clean energy space, 3 in the US, 1 in Europe. You know, again, we think that the combination of GE investment and venture capital investment is going to allow us to increase innovation. It's going to allow us to accelerate new ideas. It puts us shoulder to shoulder with some of the smartest tech investors, and we can use what I would call the industrial clout of GE to bring technologies to this marketplace faster.
GE announced its challenge at a San Francisco event along with its 4 venture capital partners. Emerald Technology Ventures, Foundation Capital, Kleiner Perkins Caulfield & Byers, and Rockport Capital Partners have all joined with GE. Ideas from companies and individuals can be entered through the ecoimagination.com website for the next 10 weeks. So check out ecoimagination.com.
So can you tell me your name and what went into your purchasing a Nissan Leaf?
Sure, I'm Olivier, and I wanted to get an electric car to reduce the emissions and then the amount of pollution that I'm responsible for. And I needed it to carry my family around. I had to be able to put car seats in the back and get on the highway. Like what a car is supposed to be doing, and that's the only car available on the planet today that, at least in the US, that meets, these criteria.
Right, and this is something that you wanted to do now as opposed to years from now when more vehicles would be available?
Right. Actually, for me, my decision was taken about 9 months ago. At that time, we knew the car was coming, and today it's here. But yes, I wanted to act now. We might, depending on who you listen to, we might already be, late in terms of acting, in terms of reducing our emissions. So,
right.
I think,
The one car you think makes a difference or is a part of the larger solution?
So that single car doesn't make any difference, right? As me driving it is not going to make any difference. But if we get thousands, hundreds of thousands, millions of people to realize that, well, it's not just a toy that kind of works, but you can't really use it. That's going to be my car. That's going to be the car I'm going to use as a real car. It is a real car.
Yeah.
I think that as people are going to see that, and as more people are actually going to buy the car, Not today, but in 10 years from today, in 50 years from today, maybe we'll start making a difference.
How was it driving the car from Petaluma to San Francisco? Was this your first drive?
Yeah, the first real long drive. Wonderful. The noise level is really, really low. It's not completely silent, and there's actually a really small noise from the engine, and it feels completely futuristic. It's really funny actually. And it feels like you're hearing the future, the sound of the future. It's a great car. It drives like a regular car. It's just less noise.
Right.
And yeah, it's actually fun to drive. And it was so easy. We were on the highway. We were talking. Actually, when you compare it to when you're in a regular car, we didn't have to talk much louder than we're talking right now.
So it's very easy.
Yeah.
Very easy. How does it feel to be the first person to receive the Nissan Leaf?
A little bit overwhelming.
Yeah.
And I'm glad I finally have the car. I've been waiting for this car for some time.
Great. Well, thank you very much, and I hope that you enjoy your car.
I will.
Quite a lot.
I will enjoy it.
Good. Thank you.
This episode is brought to you by Squarespace.com, the fast and easy way to publish a high-quality website or blog. Squarespace.com has an easy-to-use user interface for creating and managing a website or blog. Optimized for both beginners and CSS experts, makes it easy no matter your level of expertise. Hundreds of design templates to choose from, and you can customize any of the designs to fit your needs. It's an all-inclusive service, and it includes several modules to build your website, a blog module that can import and export your data from WordPress, Blogger, Movable Type, and TypePad. There's also a form builder where you can collect email addresses and other information from site visitors, Flickr photo display for choosing a thumbnail or a slideshow view, a Twitter widget so you can display tweets on your website in a customizable, great-looking format. For a free trial, go to squarespace.com. Sign up for a free account. No credit card needed. Just try it out. Build your website. Then, if you decide to purchase it, use the offer code GTT and get a 10% discount off the lifetime of your new account. That's squarespace.com and use the offer code GTT. And by Audible.com. Audible.com is a leading provider of audiobooks with more than 75,000 downloadable titles across all types of literature, including fiction, nonfiction, and periodicals. For listeners of Green Tech Today, Audible is offering a free audiobook to give you a chance to try out their service. One audiobook you may consider downloading is Cradle to Cradle, Remaking the Way We Make Things by William McDonough and Michael Braungart. To download this audiobook for free or another one of your choice, go to audiblepodcast.com/greentech. That's audiblepodcast.com/greentech.
So it's time to take it for a test spin and see how these things actually drive. I'm sitting here with Russell Vare, and he is an EV regional manager. You also work with the regional infrastructure, so getting charging stations.
Yeah, we're working on getting charging stations put in. We're working with utility companies to make sure that the grid is able and ready to support all the electric vehicles coming to market.
Okay, so how do I turn this on? What's going on here? I've got just a key fob that unlocks the car.
Yep, and so all you need to do is foot on the brake and press power.
Big power button right in the middle.
Your ignition,
or
actually.
The ignition. What's this P button?
That is
park.
To put it into park. So this is your drive selector, and you can see that there's reverse, neutral, drive, and eco. I'll show you what those two different drive modes are, and then P is just for park.
Okay, so power, it's got a nice little power symbol on it. Yeah. The international symbol for power.
So those are one of 3 startup chimes. And you can see that that little green car in the front of the dash means that you're in drive mode, you're ready to go anytime. give you a quick overview of some of the things. Well, you already got your mirrors, which is good, and your seatbelt.
Yeah, I always have my seatbelt. Safety first.
So a few things that are going on the dash. Up top is your speedometer.
Okay.
On the right here is your battery state of charge. So you can see those bars is a visual of how much energy you have left and also your miles. And then on the left is battery temperature, just an indicator gauge. And then the P right there is your drive mode, so you can see which drive mode you're in. Another screen quickly is that, see where it says to 100% charge, 240 volt, 120
right here
volt?
in the center.
Yeah, that's a quick view of how long it's going to take you to get to a full charge. So on a level 2 charge, it'd be 6 hours, based on your remaining charge.
Right.
A couple other things on the GPS here. If you see that blue button on your steering wheel, press that blue button.
The blue button on the steering wheel.
With your left
this
thumb.
one.
Yeah. So you can press that, and that gives you a quick visualization of how far you can make it based on your remaining charge. And then we'll also show you the nearest charging station locations.
So it'll always be giving you some idea of where you can get, so you're not going to just get stuck out in the cold.
Absolutely.
With a dead battery.
Yeah, and it's also going to update over time. So if you're driving slower, if you're driving in eco mode, if you're turning your AC on and off, you'll be able to see how far you can really go, and it's going to continually update over time. You can also see where the closest charging stations are and get turn-by-turn directions to them. You can see how much energy your vehicle is using. So this will show you how much energy your vehicle is using, and you can see how climate control will affect your range.
Right.
You can see the two fun features right here, the charging timer and the AC heater. This will allow you to set your vehicle to charge at off-peak rates. So let's say you want to get a discounted rate at midnight. You don't have to come outside and plug in your car.
Right.
You just set it automatically. And then this is a way to preheat and pre-cool your car.
So for people who live in colder climates, San Francisco, it's not necessarily something that's so necessary. But if you're in Michigan, your car's under a foot of snow, maybe you want to heat it up before you get out there.
Or turn on your AC, and you can also, these are features that you can control from your phone. So you can be able to monitor your battery, you can turn on your climate control.
And is this all you have an iPhone app here that this is running through? Do you have other platforms?
And this can also just be controlled through internet or any internet-enabled phone.
Okay. And is there Bluetooth in the car?
There's Bluetooth. There's a CD player.
Oh wow!
And then there's also iPod and USB jacks that you can use, and I think that's about it to get you started. Are you ready?
Okay, yeah, I'm ready to go. We might have to turn on the defrost.
Okay.
For the front window there.
Good thinking.
Yeah, get a little of the fog out. So parking brake is just this. A lot of cars are doing this little lever parking brake these days.
Just press down once, and that it's an electronic parking brake that's disengaged.
Disengaged. And then I use...
So to shift, you're going to do left and down, or left and up will put you in reverse, I'm sorry.
Left and up.
And that will also turn on your rear view camera.
It does. Very nice. So I can use that, or I can turn around and stare it. stare at Michael. And gas pedal normal like other vehicles.
One of the first things people notice is often how quiet it is. And there's a lot of features. Obviously an electric vehicle is quieter, but the cabin is also quieter. There's things like an insulated windshield. The headlights were re-engineered to push wind above and below the side mirrors to reduce turbulence. Even the windshield wiper motors were made quieter, so there's a lot of things to reduce cabin noises.
It is very quiet. Additionally, driving the foot on the gas, everything speeds up very smoothly. Is this a pretty much a constant torque engine, so that as you apply more electricity, not gas,
that's right,
it just increases the power going to the motor?
That's right. You'll notice when you floor it, you'll have a lot of low end torque and get good acceleration at low speeds, and is comparable to about a V6 in terms of its low end acceleration.
Okay. braking is pretty good. Are there regenerative brakes in this vehicle?
There are, and there's actually two modes of the regenerative braking. If you want to go back into, to go into eco mode, just do the same motion you did to go into drive, so left and down.
Left and down, okay, I'm eco.
Eco mode's going to do two things. It's going to increase the amount of regenerative braking, so you'll notice that you'll come to a stop a little bit quicker, and it also gives you more resistance on the pedal.
It does.
So
It didn't accelerate quite as much as I put the same amount of pressure.
And the other thing you'll notice is that your driving range increased a little bit. So you're going to get about 10% more range going in eco mode. So it's a good way to get range, but drive mode also
It's a good way to control somebody with a tendency for a lead foot.
It is.
The car feels stable. We haven't really done a lot of cornering or anything, but it feels like it feels like it would handle pretty well. Like it has a good low center of gravity.
Yeah, it does. A lot of that weight with the batteries beneath us is what helps give that low center of gravity, good handling. Yeah, one of the other things to note is the cloth is all recycled plastic bottles. It's recycled PET fibers for the seats and the headliner.
Okay.
So the car is made of recycled material with the fabric and also the bumpers, and the car itself is 99% recyclable. So there's a whole strategy being used with the batteries.
Was there a lot of consideration for kind of the cradle to cradle or cradle to grave aspects of the vehicle?
There was. One of the strategies we're implementing right now is for reusing the batteries. So the first application is just reusing. After 5 or 10 years, you may not have the same range as you would, maybe about 80 miles range as opposed to 100 miles range, depending on how much you're driving it. But there may be someone who'd be perfectly content with that range based on their driving patterns. So you could resell the battery. Our batteries you can fix at the cell level, so we can refabricate batteries if they're damaged. And then finally we're looking at reselling them in secondary markets. So we're utility companies that need large-scale renewable energy storage, or maybe at the community level, maybe a different application like a golf cart or something. So even if it's not good enough for our daily use in a car, there's still a lot of value in that battery that we're going to continue to use, and then finally recycling it if need be.
Right. So the life of the battery, how long are they expected to live? The warranty is currently what?
Warranty is 8 years, 100,000 miles. Some of the other features, it comes with XM radio, which is part of its telematics system. And these charging stations, I think I mentioned that those are going to update over time. So we're working with all the different manufacturers to ensure that as more stations are built, it's automatically updated to the mapping system. So as the infrastructure grows over the next 2 years with a lot of the Department of Energy projects like the EV project and ChargePoint America.
For the nav system, is there voice control?
There is voice control. There's a traditional mapping system. You can set the voice control. You can set destinations, and then I don't think we have it turned on at the moment, but there is voice control to use the phone and the map. There's the energy info screen will show you go to green as you're generating energy through regenerative braking, and you can see how much energy you're using as you accelerate. It's an 80 kilowatt motor.
So it's like accelerate up the hill, using more and more energy.
That's right.
Pretty straightforward.
And you can also see that, be able to track the history of your driving patterns, and then also your energy economy, so how efficiently you're driving.
Right, so going down this hill and applying the brakes, San Francisco is probably a great city for getting a return on your battery for regen braking.
We should get you on somewhere where you can try it uphill. I'll floor it, see how it does.
Yeah.
Good enough for the hills of San
power.
Francisco?
Yeah. Very easy. And we come right back in for the Green Vehicle Showcase. This was fun.
So press P for park.
Press park, and it just puts it into park.
That's it.
So this drive was a lot of fun. The Nissan Leaf is a sporty vehicle. It's got a lot of power. And for those of you who don't drive long distances on a daily basis, it might be something interesting to look into if you are interested in the electric vehicle market. These electric vehicles are going to be on the market starting 2011, 2012, so we're still getting them to the point where everybody could have one. I'm Dr. Kiki, and I'm done green hunting for this week. I hope you enjoyed the show. Catch me someplace new and exciting next time.
That's it for this episode of Green Tech Today. Subscribe at twit.tv/GTT and never miss a show. If you have a question or a comment, email us at greentechtoday@twit.tv. Or you can leave a voicemail at 415-GT-TODAY.